Okay, so today we are going to be talking about all the things that you will need in your profile if you want to get admits from top universities like MIT, Stanford, Princeton, etc., and how you can go about the application process. Now, we all know that what all is required, as an overview for your applications and what all you need, the documents that you need for your grad school applications. But we are going to talk today in detail about those application process, and how you should go along the way in building your profile. Okay, because considering we have 6 more months to finish our applications by the time we submit them, because the deadlines will be in December for fall of 2026. I am going to take you through the process of how we should go about it. Okay, so today we are going to talk about an overview of what all we are going to be needing, and in detail about SOP, resume, LOR, university shortlisting, and about a very important topic, that is building your research profile. I'll be taking you through the Videsh long-term mentorship program at the end also. And if you have any kind of questions during the ongoing webinar, you can post them in chat and we will do our best to answer them. We'll also be posting a recording of this webinar on our YouTube channel. So if at any point you feel that the pace is too much, or you missed a particular slide and you were not able to attend probably 2-3 slides, or the pace is too fast, you can then refer to the YouTube channel later on. Okay, so that being said, if today is your first Videsh's webinar, I would like to take 2-3 minutes to tell you about what Videsh is and what our mission is. Okay. So Videsh was founded by three co-founders, Dr. Raj, Dr. Rajat, and Dr. Sridhar, who are award-winning scientists and researchers from IIT Madras, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and the Purdue University in the US. Okay, so the three of them were in the US when they realized that people didn't have access to professional mentorship when they were applying to their to the graduate schools for either masters or PhD both. Okay, because even when the three of them were undergoing the process of application, they were building their profile, they were preparing for all the documents, they did not have any professional mentorship. Or this, I'm talking about back in 2017, 2018. Okay, so back during that time, they did not have any kind of professional mentorship, and all they had was some advice from seniors. Okay, so with that in mind, they came to India, and with the aim of helping students and working professionals like yourselves to get your dream university through a professional mentorship, Videsh was founded. Okay, so our main aim and mission is to help you reach your dream university. Okay, and we want to very professionally guide you in a very structured way as to how you should proceed about your grad school applications. Okay, so there's a particular process that needs to be followed whenever you're preparing for your applications. Okay, I'll take you through the process in this webinar. Today's agenda, like I said, it's going to be about the basics of grad school applications, and then we are going to be diving in into the university shortlisting. I'm going to be telling you how you should shortlist your universities. Then we are going to talk about statement of purpose, LOR, resume. So these three documents. Then we are going to talk about exams, GRE, TOEFL, IELTS, and then a very important topic, that is research profile. Okay, so at the end of the research profile, I'm going to be talking about how we will professionally mentor you and how you will have us as your professional mentor throughout your application process journey. Okay, and then if time permits, at the end we'll be taking a few questions. Okay, so yeah, so we'll dive into the agenda. So the grad school applications, whenever you're talking about, is the first question is if you're applying for masters or for PhD. Okay, so the masters usually takes 2 years to finish, and the PhD usually takes 4 to 6 years if you're applying in the US. If you are applying in Europe, it may take 1 or 2 years lesser than the US. And then, PhDs are generally not 100% funded, but then there are very good chances of getting funding in the form of RAs and fellowships when you are pursuing your PhD. Okay. And then for masters, it is generally not that easy to get funding. But then again, if you have a good research profile, if you have done a lot of research work, then you have good chances of getting funding. Okay, so the three co-founders that I was talking about who founded Videsh, they got fully funded admits from MIT and Purdue, and they pursued their education in US with the help of 100% scholarship. Okay, so so that is why they have such good experience in guiding students of how to get into your dream universities also, and how to increase your chances of getting funding also. So what all you need when you are applying for your grad school, the first thing is GPA. Now I understand that not all of us have a very good GPA might be good and not so good, but then there is not much that we can do about it. But then there are other things that we can do in order to offset that GPA if it is not so good. Okay, so then you need to have a very strong resume, a compelling statement of purpose, three strong letters of recommendation, a very strong research profile, and good GRE and TOEFL scores. Okay, so these things can really help offset your GPA if it is not so good. Okay, so stop worrying about if my GPA is going to accept my is going to affect my chances of getting into a particular university. If your other elements of your profile are very good, then you can definitely offset this GPA, and then you can even get into a good university. Okay, I'll talk about a few deadlines. So for spring, generally the deadlines are in June or July for the spring of 2026, and the deadlines for fall are in December, like I mentioned. Okay, so it's very important for you to decide if you want to go for spring or fall, because it so happens that the spring cohorts are less in size also, and a number of programs that are offered by spring programs are much lesser than fall. Okay, so unless you have a specific reason of applying to spring, you should apply to fall. Okay, so because fall cohort sizes are much larger, and the programs offered by fall are also much there are many programs that the fall cohort has to offer compared to the spring cohort. Okay, and like I said, for funding scenario is such that you need to have a very strong profile for you to increase your chances of funding. Okay, so we dive into the university shortlisting part of the grad school applications now. So for university shortlisting, all of you, I'm sure, must have decided, or you might be having some universities in your mind of which ones you want to shortlist. Okay, but then it's very important, I want to emphasize on this point that it's very important to make a very big list of 25-30 universities, and then shorten it down to 9 or 10 universities. Okay, because it's very important that your first list is not universities, because that is something that I'm going to tell you why. Because we are going to decide and finalize the universities based on this Excel sheet that I encourage you all to prepare if you haven't by now. So on the leftmost column, you mention the name of the university, and from the column 2 onwards, you can leave the column 2 blank as of now. From column 3, you can start filling out all the information that is available on the university website. Okay, and when you're shortlisting the universities, it is also very important to not just go by the QS university rankings. Okay, it's very important to look at the program rankings also. So it might be possible that the university that you're looking for might have a very good ranking, but then the program that you're looking for, the ranking might not be so good. Okay, so that is also something you need to look at, the program ranking rather than the entire university ranking. And column 3 onwards, all the information is available on the university website. Okay, so first of all, the first thing that you should do is, before shortlisting the universities, you need to finalize which program you want to apply to. Okay, you should have a broad area of interest, and then you should finalize that area of interest before you are jotting down those universities. Okay, because that is something that is going to really help you list down the universities of which universities will have the best program in that particular field. Okay, so that it is very important to know which field you are applying to, right? And then, coming to column 2, it is important to understand if for you it is going to be easy, difficult, or hard to get into that university. Now, when we are shortlisting universities for students, we are doing a profile evaluation check, and we are providing feedback, and then we are filling option number 2, column number 2, with easy, medium, and hard universities. So we are making a list of easy, medium, and hard universities. So 10 universities we are shortlisting, considering a very good mix of universities, and considering your profile and how easy or difficult it will be for you to get into that particular university. So if you have not started shortlisting your universities, and not just in your mind, on an Excel sheet, now is the right time to do that. We are almost entering in June, and you almost have like 6 months, not even 6 months to apply. Okay, so it's very important for you to start shortlisting universities from now itself. Now we are moving to the next part of the grad school application process. Now we are moving on to the documentation part of the process. The first document that is extremely essential in your application process is the statement of purpose. Okay, so why is the statement of purpose so important? It is because, it is a story that you are telling the admissions committee about yourself, about who you are, and you are pitching yourself to the university. You are also telling the university why and how you are going to be beneficial for the university, along with them being beneficial to you. Okay, so this is the only document in your entire application process which allows you to attach your emotions and passion. Okay, because in your resume you're not going to be you won't have that. It's a factual piece of paper. Okay, resume is very factual, it's in brief, it's concise, but then SOP is a story that you're telling about yourself, with whatever you've done up till now will have emotions and passion attached to it. So it's very important to tell your story in the perfect way. Okay, so before you feel overwhelmed, I just want you to know that we have broken down the statement of purpose into 4 parts for you, for ease of your understanding, and how you should go in a very processed way about it. Okay, so the first part of the statement of purpose is the thread. I'm going to be taking you through each of these parts one by one. Okay, so thread is basically the vision that binds your SOP together. Okay, it's very important that your statement of purpose has only one vision, and you're not digressing here and there. Okay, so I'll give you an example, because it will be very easy for you to understand with an example. Now, these are snapshots of Dr. Raj's statement of purpose. So his vision was to create an impact through the field of fluid mechanics. Now, this was the SOP that he had written when he was applying to MIT, and he had maintained this particular vision in throughout his SOP. Okay, and see how he's written it. Okay, so what he mentioned was that I want to make an impact in the field of fluid mechanics. That is something that he had emphasized on in every single paragraph in his SOP. Okay, it's very important that you have a vision. Now, I understand that you might be applying to different programs in different universities, and your SOP will have to change accordingly. So it's very important not to just change the name of the university. It's also important to project your profile in such a way that it matches the program. Okay, so it's important to change your story in such a way that it makes you the perfect fit for that particular program. Okay, so the first part is the thread. The second part is the hook. Now, by hook I mean consider a hook as your biggest strengths in your profile. Okay, so up till now, everything that you've done, all the awards that you've received, all your research publications, any prestigious research internship that you've done, you can mention that in the hook. But then again, I want to emphasize on the point that if you don't have something very extraordinary in your profile until now, the hook can be developed. Okay, you can still even now develop the hook and mention it in your profile. Okay, So for example, Dr. Raj, this is again a screenshot of Dr. Raj's statement of purpose. If you remember, I told you that he had a vision of, creating an impact through the field of fluid mechanics. Now, how was this thread being tied to the hook? What he did was he also mentioned a paper that he presented in the European Fluid Mechanics Conference in Spain. He also mentioned that he was writing a paper and he plans to submit it by the end of December to the Journal of Fluid Mechanics. Okay, so you can see how everything in his statement of purpose is coming together and finally linking to the vision of his statement of purpose. Okay, so if you don't have a hook until now, you can develop it. You can still build your research profile. You can still have research publications on your profile, and we can help you develop those research publications that align to the program that you are looking out for. Okay, so that will help you to build a very, very strong hook for your profile. Okay, now the third is the supporting cast. Okay, so I mean by supporting cast, there are always things that we have done in our undergraduate or our internships that don't really, align with the field of study that we are applying for. Okay, by that I mean, I will again take an example. Dr. Raj was doing an internship in ITC in installing solar panels. Now you can see that this is in no way related to the field of fluid mechanics. Okay, but then still, prestigious internship from ITC is something that he really wanted to mention, and it's a prestigious thing, right? And all of us have done such kind of things that are not directly related to our program that we are applying to, but then we are still proud of it. Okay, so this is the supporting cast, and this is also something that you have to mention in your statement of purpose. Now, how you are supposed to do that? You're supposed to do that by following the sandwich technique. Now by that I mean, you have to mention above and below of the paragraph that you have to mention the thread, and in the middle you have to insert that you were doing an internship in ITC in so and so field. Okay, so this is how you should insert very subtly your supporting cast, in a way make an impact also, but then again make sure that your thread still remains the same. Also, one more thing, that if you feel that your thread is being repeated a lot of times in your SOP, it's fine, it's not a problem, but make sure that the same sentences are not repeated. You are making your point in different ways. Okay, because it's very important for the admissions committee to know what your vision is. Okay, so this is the supporting cast. And then finally, the fourth part of the SOP is casting the net. So, in these last two paragraphs, these are the most two important paragraphs of your statement of purpose. I'll tell you why. It is because this is when the university will decide if you are not, or if you are a good fit for that university. Now, how is that? The first paragraph in the casting of net will be your research about the research work that is done in the particular university, and the the professors who are aligned with the same field of research that you are doing. So this also, how it's very important to not just write names of professors who are working in that university. It's very important to go in the website, search for the work that is being done in that particular research lab, and search for the professors whose work aligns with the research work that you're doing or you've done. Okay, so that is how you mention this in the paragraph, that you can see how Dr. Raj mentions that he mentions this research group and he mentions the name of the professor. He also mentions that he would like to work with this professor. Okay, so this is also, you should express your interest in research in the work that is being carried out in the research lab. Okay, and that requires a lot of research on your part about the university and about the professors also. So it's very important to start this process from now on. And this is something that also comes in the university shortlisting part that I was talking about earlier, that in the last column, you can go in the particular university, you can search the research labs, you can search and research about the names of the professors, the work that they're doing, and you can mention in the Excel sheet. So at the time of applications, when you're preparing those SOPs, you can mention this in this casting the net paragraph in your SOP. Okay, and then at the end, the last paragraph should focus on why you will be a good fit for the university, how beneficial you will be for the university, as well as how beneficial the university will be for you. So it's a two-way street, and it's important to mention both sides of the coin. Okay, and it's very important to make a very strong pitch at the end, in the last paragraph. Okay, so these are the four parts of the statement of purpose: the thread, the hook, the supporting cast, and the pitch, that is casting the net. Okay, so I've broken down the SOP into these four parts for ease of understanding for you. And even if right now you're not ready with the essays and not ready with the exact statement of purpose, the actual statement of purpose, it's very important for you to jot down the points that will come in your thread. So what is your vision, so you can write that under your thread. You know what is the hook. If you don't have the hook, it can be developed. The supporting cast, you can mention that as pointers. And then finally the pitch, you can mention about the research labs and the professors. So you can make a rough draft about of the SOP right now, right? And some do's and don'ts. It's very important that you don't include any quotes or any cheesy stuff, any inspirational quotes that you find, because the admissions committee want to know who you are as a person, and they are not really interested in what inspires you or who inspires you. They really want to know what kind of person you are, and what your passion is. Okay, and then get your SOP or resume reviewed from people who have actually been through the process. Okay, so for example, if you don't have any professional mentorship to guide you, it's very important for you to get it reviewed from your seniors, and not just some random people who don't know about the process, and who are making random comments. Okay, so it's very important for you not to show your documents to people who have not been through the process, right? Now we are moving to the letters of recommendation. Now, letters of recommendation, I would say it's very important. First and foremost, I would, like to emphasize on the point that it's very important for you to ask your professors or managers if you can draft letters of recommendation on their behalf. Okay, because this gives a lot of control to us, and this is how we can make sure that your profile is projected in such a way that you come across as a multifaceted candidate, right? It's very important for you to be projected like that. Okay, most of the professors, if politely asked, won't refuse, because they don't have time to write 2 long pages only about a particular student. So if you politely tell them that if it is fine to if you can draft the letter of recommendation, and if you can send it to them for review, and then they can review it and submit it. So that is mostly the norm, and that is what most of the professors don't refuse. Okay, so it's very important that you take that control in your hand, and that is very much possible. Now the letter of recommendation has to be strong, credible, and diverse. Okay, so by strong, I mean that you need to use very strong adjectives, and not just too flashy, but then very assertive and extremely strong, right? So if you don't have any mentor who is professionally drafting these letters of recommendation for you, if you are doing it on your own, it's very important to know the difference between the generic and the exceptional SOP. Now if you can see on the left and right, they basically say the same thing, but the sentence on the right makes much more impact. Okay, so it's impactful. It's very important to not glorify yourself also, but it's very important to use strong adjectives. Okay, the next thing I talked about is being credible. Now what do I mean by being credible? That is something that whatever is mentioned in your statement of purpose, it has to be endorsed in your letter of recommendation. Now, if you remember, I talked about Dr. Raj's SOP and how he had mentioned that he is preparing for a particular paper and is going to submit that paper in the Journal of Fluid Mechanics. Okay, so he made sure that his professor also was writing the same thing in his letter of recommendation, that I'm working on this particular paper with Raj, and we will be submitting this particular paper to the Journal of Fluid Mechanics. So now you see how both things are coherent and they talk about the same thing. Okay, so it's very important for you to not just mention something in your statement of purpose and not have it endorsed by in your letter of recommendation. Whatever research work you are doing or you've done, it has to be endorsed in your LOR. That is what makes your LOR credible. Okay, so that is credibility. The third thing is diversity. Now, by diversity, I mean that even if you are still in your undergrad and probably in your last year and you want to apply for next year, and for even those people also, I would say that two letters of recommendation should be from academia and one LOR should be from your research internship if you are still an undergrad student. For working professionals, I would say that two letters of recommendation should be from academia and one should be from your manager. Okay, so that makes you come across as somebody who is diverse and who has an experience, who has a very good experience of academia and who is endorsed by industry as well. Okay, so here I would take an example of Dr. Sridath, one of our co-founders, letter of recommendation that one of his professors at MIT had written for him, to endorse him for this award, Langmuir Award, that was being given to. Okay, so you can see that this letter of recommendation so strongly endorses Dr. Sridath, and it makes him come across as somebody who is very technically sound, who has good leadership skills, who has good soft skills, and who is a good team player also. So it's very important for you to be endorsed in such a way, and maximum the letter of recommendation should be 2 pages, not more than that, not less than that. It's also very important to be factual in your LOR. It's not it's not good for you to be a lot, it's good for you to not glorify yourself a lot, right? So yeah, so this slide again shows the difference between generic and exceptional LORs, right? So I will talk about resume preparation next. Now, resume is another part in your application process that needs to be taken very seriously. And this is the third document and very, very important, obviously. So if you are applying for masters, it's very important that your resume is not more than 2 pages long. And if you're applying for PhD, 3 page long resume is fine. Okay, it's okay. So as a rule of thumb, you can take this into consideration about the length of your resume. Okay, so basically it is your 30 to 60-second pitch to the university, and it's very important for you to be factual, concise, and brief in your resume. It's very important to ensure that you mention your publication section or your conference section in the first page of your resume. Okay, if you don't have this section, again it can be developed and you can still work on it. You still have time to work on it, maybe not after 2-3 months, but then now you still have time to build your publication section. Okay, so you can see that on the right, you can see Dr. Sridath's resume, which looks something like this. He's written education first, then he's written about his publications. He's also written about his upcoming publications. Okay, so these are the publications that that the papers that have not been published yet, and the papers that he's working on. Okay, so for you to get very good admits from good universities, and also to increase your chances of funding if you're applying for PhDs, it is very important for you to have at least 1 or 2 first author papers. Okay, so it's very, very important. Now can you see the link that is mentioned here? Now this link is the link to the portfolio website of the student. Okay, so this link directly takes the admissions committee to the portfolio website. Okay, the advantage of the portfolio website is such that it is a dynamic website, and you can make changes even after you submit your applications. Now, this is going to give you an advantage of around 2 months in your application process. I'll tell you how. So you consider you apply in December, and your applications are mostly reviewed by the mid of February or so. So in those 2 months, it's possible that the papers that were under review get published, or you have an upcoming paper that you're working on, something or the other that you want to update. Okay, so that those changes you cannot make in your resume or your statement of purpose. Those changes you have to make in your portfolio website, and that is something that the admissions committee will see, and that is an advantage that you will get over the rest of your peers. So it's very important to mention the link of the portfolio website in your resume. Okay, like the one mentioned here. Okay, If you don't have a publication section, again, if none of your papers are published yet, it's still fine. You can mention here that the paper is in preparation, or it is under review, or it is submitted. Okay, either of these three things are fine, but it's very important for you to have a publication section, right? Now, the key elements of an impactful resume are that, like I said, portfolio website is the most important, and it gives you a very, like a competitive advantage amongst of your peers, because you are competing, from top candidates from around the world, if you are really aiming for top universities. So it's very important for you to, have that competitive edge over the rest of your peers, right? And then, like I said, if your GPA is very, very strong, it's important to include it, and it's important to highlight it. Now, I told you earlier about how you can offset your GPA, but then if you don't need to offset your GPA, if your GPA is already very good, it's very important to highlight it, because not every student has a very strong GPA. So if you have a good GPA, make sure to highlight it. Okay. And then again, any teaching experiences, any extracurricular activities, any startup activities, anything that you've done during your undergrad, it's very important to include it. Of course, I would like to emphasize on the point that most of the things that you do in school years don't matter. So extracurriculars done during school years up till 12th, it's important to not include that, because those don't really matter. Okay, so don't include the things that you did in school time or school years. Fine. Then again, resume do's and don'ts, in line with the SOP do's and don'ts, they also apply here. It's very important to not include your personal information, like, your marital status, gender, motor vehicle license, ID, etc., whatever. So it's very important to not disclose any personal information, because, generally in the resume for companies, we are mentioning this particular information about our marital status or our date of birth or whatever. But it's very important that when you are applying to graduate schools, you stay clear of mentioning your personal details. Okay, because the admissions committee is very fair, and they are not really going to dive into your personal information and verify if it's correct or no. So they don't really, they're not comfortable with you sharing your personal information, and that might, be a negative point in your resume. So refrain from doing that. And again, I would like to emphasize that SOP, LOR, and your resume should tell the same story. They should be completely coherent with each other. It may feel at times that, everything is being repeated, and I'm repeating the same thing, but it's fine. It's completely okay. They should tell the same story, and it's very important for these three documents to be coherent. Okay. So this is something that I would emphasize on. The next thing that we're coming to is the exams. Now, most of the universities have waived off GRE exams, and it's very important to, before you think about giving your GRE, because it takes time to prepare for this exam. Okay, it's not a very easy exam. It's very important for you to devote time for it if you decided to give it. Okay, so before you decide to give this particular exam, in your shortlisted universities, there's also a section if the GRE is optional or no. Okay, so if your set of universities have GRE optional, or they've waived off GRE scores, it's fine if you don't take this exam. Instead, it's fine if you work on your publication section. Okay, I'll come to that part later. But then for now, just remember that if the universities that you're applying to does not require GRE, it's optional, then it's fine even if you don't give it. Okay. But then, like I said, if you decide to give this particular exam, it will take 1 or 2 months of preparation. And, these are some of the books, and GregMat is also a website that most of the students use. And, it's a very cheap subscription, about $5-6 per month, that students use to prepare for their GRE exam. So these have like mock tests also. So if you decide to give this exam, it's very important for you to prepare thoroughly. Okay, so for on your phone, you can also download the Magoosh app, and then this app has flashcards that you can prepare for your English section also. And even this website has the mock test that you can give. Okay, Now, coming to the TOEFL part, the TOEFL is almost mandatory at every university. It's basically for, testing your English knowledge also. And then, it's very important for you to prepare that also, to prepare for that. Okay. Yeah, so the TOEFL exam is it takes you almost 2-3 weeks for preparation of TOEFL, and it basically tests your knowledge on speaking, reading, writing, and listening. Okay, so if you're a native English speaker, it's a very easy exam, and a score of above 105 is good enough for you to get qualified for any university. Okay, it's very important that you prepare 2 weeks at least in advance before you give this exam. But overall, it's a very easy exam. Same goes for IELTS. Okay, so TOEFL and IELTS are comparatively easy exams, right? We now move on to the research profile part. It's a very, very important part that I want you all to focus on. And it's a very, very important part of your grad school application process. The publication section that I was talking about, the hook section in your SOP that I was talking about, all take you back to the research profile. If you don't have a research profile, it can be developed, right? So how to go about it now? What is a research profile and what you can do about it? Okay, so most of the students that I've spoken to, they have research work, that research internships they've done, research projects that they've done, but not necessarily first author papers that they've sent for publication. Okay, so if you are in the process where you have done a project, or you have done a research internship, you were working on a particular internship, and then the internship got over, so you just moved on. It's very important to convert those projects into a research paper, and you can still do that. So instead of picking out a separate topic, an individual topic, if you already have a project, or if you've already done some work in research, it's very important to take that forward, so that you can convert it into a research paper in the coming 2 or 3 months. Now, this is for students who have had a bit of research experience, and who know what is research. For students who are very new to research and who have just done projects in their undergrad, it's completely fine. Even now, you can select topics for your research paper and build a research paper and submit it for publication, and have that publication section in your resume. Okay, so whichever section you're in, whichever group you're in, your research paper can still be published. Okay, we still have time. Now, like I said, you might have research projects, but then just a research project or a project that you've done in undergrad, that doesn't have any value. So if you mention that even in your SOP, that's not going to have any value. That's not going to make your profile stand out. Even international research internships also, even research internships, it may be international or local. Internships have more values than projects, but then they don't have that much value as compared to a publication or a conference or a patent. Okay, so you can still convert these two pointers mentioned on the left to the 3 pointers mentioned on the right. Okay, now, what I meant to say by that is that, currently maybe you have a lot of projects in your resume, and your resume would look like this, listing out all the projects that you've done. But then the resume on the left looks much better than the resume on the right. And, it will have a much better impact on the admissions committee. Okay, so this is 5 times better than this, right? A single publication, a single first author publication, a single paper presentation in a particular conference will give you that competitive edge among the rest of your peers. Okay, like I said earlier, it's completely fine. Even if your paper is not published, you can still mention in publication. Okay, so this is Dr. Raj's resume, and under publication section, you can see that he's written in preparation. Okay, and this was his resume that he sent to MIT. Okay, so he got a fully funded scholarship from MIT, and this is what he'd written in his resume. So it's completely fine if your paper is in preparation. It's completely fine. But then again, like I said, it has to be endorsed in your letter of recommendation by the professor that you're working with. Okay, so that's very important. And then how can you publish in the next month? So Even if I know students who have published papers as second or third authors, but that also doesn't have that much impact as being a first author. Okay, so even if you've published papers as a first second author, as a third author, or you've done research projects, you can still publish as a first author in the next months. So how can you do that? You have three options. The first is write a research paper by converting your project work into a research paper, so that you don't have to look for a separate topic. You can also write a review paper. A review paper is basically a paper written, that is, describing the summary of 50, 60 other research papers written on the same topic. So a review paper also has a lot of importance and respect, and that also can be included in your publication section. Okay. A review paper is comparatively easier to write as compared to a research paper. Okay. And then preprints. Okay. It's completely fine if you have submitted your papers to preprints also, because preprints like archive are much more lenient than an actual journal. So what we are doing is we are first submitting our students papers in archive, and then we are submitting it to journals or conferences. Okay, so these three ways will teach you how to write a first author research or a review paper. Okay. So, like I said, the review paper is a summary. Preprint, an example of preprint is the archive. You can also convert your course projects into preprints. Like I said, you can convert your course projects into a paper, and then you can submit it to a preprint. We also help students in preparing, writing review and research papers, and then converting it into preprint. So you still have that first author, section in your publication section in your SOP, and the hook in your SOP, right? So, now we are coming to the long-term mentorship program offered by Videsh. So, in this particular program, I want to let you know that what we are doing. Okay, so essentially, we are helping students with, first of all, is building their research profile. Now, it may be from scratch, or it may be, your research profile may be somewhere in between, and you might need help in publishing a paper. Okay, so anyways, we are helping you with building your research profile, helping you write first author research or review papers, and helping you perfect your applications. Okay. So, the vision of long-term mentorship program is to help you build a strong research profile and to craft a strong application. Okay. I'll tell you how. These are some of the examples before we dive into the long-term mentorship program. These are some of the examples of the papers that we've submitted to journals or conferences, and the papers have ended up being accepted also. Okay, so and this is what a portfolio website looks like. Okay, so this is Dr. Raj's portfolio website, and if you remember in the resume section, I talked about portfolio website and why it is important. So this is how a portfolio website looks like, and it's very, very important that you have a strong portfolio website. Okay. And just an example to show you how coherent your SOP, resume, and LOR should be, just to give you an idea of, these three coherent documents make a very strong set of documents. Okay, so it's very important for you to be coherent and, not have data here and there. Now, again, coming to the university shortlisting, if you remember, I mentioned earlier to add another column here at the end to mention the names of the professors that you are going to be writing in the casting the net part in your statement of purpose at the end, especially while mentioning why, which professor you would like to work with, and how you are going to benefit the university. Okay, so it's important that you add another column here and mention the names of professors whose work align with the research work that you're doing, that you're doing or you've done. Okay. And this is just a visual representation of how you're selling your profile. Okay, so the spots that you can see on this banana are probably your weaknesses. Now weaknesses can be anything, it can be like your gap year, it can be a long gap from academia, it can be anything. Okay, so you're probably selling it as the second figure, and how you should be selling is looks like the figure on the right. Okay, so it's very important. Even if students, I've seen students who have strong profiles, who have good GPAs, good research work, but then that SOPs are not written correctly. Okay, so it's very important to upsell yourself, and it's very important to project yourself as a strong candidate. Okay, so even if you have a strong profile, it's important to write that and tell a story in an SOP that really catches the eye of the admissions committee, right? Now, we help you in building a research profile and storytelling in the application, as well as planning your timeline. The first phase of the long-term mentorship program will basically focus on your research profile. Now, like I said, we will write a review paper for the students who don't have any experience in research, and we will write a research paper for students who already have projects and who need help in converting these projects into research papers. Okay, so either we are writing a review paper, and both of these papers are first author papers. Okay, so that's not it's you can be rest assured both the papers are first author papers. But then if you don't currently have any project that can be converted into a paper, it's very important for you at this stage to write a review paper. And for those students who have projects that they have done that align with their field of study that they're applying to, it's important for those students to convert these projects into research papers. Okay, even if you have some topics on your mind that you think you can convert into a research or a review paper, you can write to us. I'll give you the details at the end, and then we can see if we have open problem statements in that particular area, and then we can help you build your research profile if we have open problem statements in that particular area. Okay, so, and this is for both MS and PhD applicants. It's very important for you to have first author research and review papers. Review papers are also equally accepted by admissions committee and equally respected. So there's not much of an respect difference when it comes to review and research papers. So be rest assured on that point as well. And the next phase is perfecting your applications. Now in this we are starting this phase by asking your inputs on which programs you want to apply to and which universities you have on your mind. So we are taking inputs from you, and then we are doing a profile evaluation check, and we are giving you our feedback. Okay, so the long-term mentorship program phase 1 and phase 2 is being mentored by our co-founders. They are giving their feedback to you. They are you can directly learn from them. You can ask them questions. It's very important for you to be very proactive, okay, during the LTM program, right? And then we are selecting universities for you depending on your profile, and like I said, a good mix of easy, medium, hard universities. We are selecting 10 universities for you. Okay, we are helping you draft your statement of purpose. So for whatever tweaks here and there you might need in your SOP that you will need to apply to for those 10 universities, we are helping you draft those. We are helping you to draft 3 letters of recommendation, and we are doing some basic guidance on GRE and TOEFL exams. So we are providing basic guidance on that. And then we are also helping you to prepare your resume and your portfolio website, which is so very important. Okay, so this is the phase 2 of the long-term mentorship program. Now this is the profile assessment tool that we are once you've enrolled with us, we are sending this to you, or we are directly getting in touch with you if for us to know what kind of experience you have with research, and how well versed you are with research, and what exactly you want to do. So it's very important to know what kind of a topic you want to take forward. If you have anything on your mind, if you have any project, if you have a particular topic that you want to convert to a paper, you have to mention it here. Okay, now I'm just going to give you a few examples of our testimonials and some of the success stories that Videsh has had and why we are so successful. So we have recently received admits from Stanford, Princeton, etc. Now, if you know, Princeton is extremely hard to get into, and not many international students get into Princeton. Okay, but recently one of our students received an admit from Princeton, and it's a very prestigious thing. And we strongly believe that our process and our meticulous, the phase one and phase two meticulous process has helped students get admits into top universities. A lot of students have got admits from top universities. Now this is just a list of what all work we've done, and we even have a Discord channel that our students use to interact with each other. Okay, so you have peer interaction in that as well. Now, these are some sample papers from LTM. This is from 2023, and this is also from 2023. So I just want to emphasize on the fact that how important it is to know that any project can be converted into a full-fledged research paper or a review paper. Okay, so if you have any projects, even if you have projects that are in very basic stage, write out to us and we can surely help you convert it into a research paper. Okay, so I'm sure all of you must be having projects in your undergrad. Let's convert that into a research paper. Okay, these are some of the testimonials that we have received from our students. You can see our students have got admits from CMU, Cornell, UC Chicago, John Hopkins, etc. A few testimonials, a few messages that we received from students. And our success stories stretch to a lot of universities. Our students have got admits from very, very good universities. And for PhD applicants, I also want to emphasize on the point that a lot of students have also got very good funding. Okay, so some of them have got 100% funding, and a few of them have got partial funding also. So our aim is to help you increase and maximize your chances of getting maximum funding if you're applying to a PhD. And even for masters, we encourage you, and our aim is to help you get a scholarship. Okay, so that is something that we believe in. Okay, and then again a few testimonials that we received from our students, and we are very proud of them. So what we'll do is we'll help you identify the following. How we'll help you identify problem statements. Okay, so if you have topics on your mind, we'll help them convert you to problem statements, and we'll help you to write research papers in a very impactful way. Okay, and our co-founders know what all is required for a paper to get published, okay, in a very good journal or conference. So taking advice and taking guidance from them will help you immensely to get your paper published. Okay, and like I said, this particular batch is being mentored by our co-founders directly, who are MIT, IIT, and Purdue alumni. You can learn directly from their experiences. You can ask them a lot of questions, and they'll be very, very happy to answer you. Okay, so we are also helping you set a realistic timeline to publish papers in the next few months, and we are helping you to prepare a roadmap. Also, we prepare a roadmap for students who are enrolled with our long-term mentorship program, for you to have a clear idea of how you should proceed. Okay, and our LTM program takes place in such a way that we work in assignment form. So you are given assignments, and you are supposed to submit those assignments in a particular time frame. Okay, and then our co-founders will review your assignments and provide feedback, and that is how we proceed. So even if you face any roadblock or anything that you're stuck with, any of the topic question you want to answer, that you want to get an answer to related to your application process, you can just reach out to us on mail, and our co-founders will directly get in touch with you. Okay, so this is just a glimpse of how life at MIT looks, and it's a very culturally and a very rich experience that you get in terms of all the things, and it's everything you can hope for. Right now, last point is, if you are interested in long-term mentorship program, now is the perfect time to get started, considering you have 5 months on your hand to build your profiles. And in another 1 or 2 months you won't be able to build the hook section in your SOP and the publication section in your resume. Okay, so now is the perfect time to get started and to convert your projects into research papers and to write those first author research and review papers. Okay, because if you delay from now, you won't be having enough time to develop your research profile, which is so very important. Okay, if you have an interest in converting your projects into papers, or if you are interested in the entire long-term mentorship program or any part of the long-term mentorship program, write out to us at hello@flyvidesh.com with all the details, and we'll get back to you. Okay, I also want to mention that even if you are if you want to have like a discussion, a one-to-one discussion, to get your profile evaluated, and we also have a bunch of other programs like the SciML bootcamp and the generative AI bootcamp. Also, so those programs are very much like focused on Gen AI and ML. So if you need a consultation on which program would suit you best, considering your profile, or you need guidance in, like it happens sometimes that people, students have their research profiles, but they're not sure how to project it in a particular way, or they need help in, building a particular part like SOP, resume, etc. So, you can get in touch with me at this TopMate link. We are mentioning this TopMate link in the chat of this webinar. So you can book a call with me at your earliest convenience. So this will be a 30-minute call in which we will talk about your profile, your career aspirations, and how you can move forward, to